When you hear the word therapy, what thoughts go into your mind? I'm okay. It's a phase I'm just going through. Oh, it's just a low feeling. I'll get past it. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I don't need anyone to talk to. I'll be fine by tomorrow. But what happens if it doesn't go tomorrow? What if it stays there? What if what you're feeling is a regurgitating emotion that you can't get rid of because there is something deep rooted inside of you that is making you feel low? But then you as a man don't think you need someone to talk to, and you think you can brush it off. What causes men to think in this way, that they don't need therapy and that they are strong enough to deal with the problems at hand? In my previous video, you will have seen when I talk about loneliness in men and why men feel lonely. And this is part of the reason why men feel lonely, is because when they struggle to share their emotions because there is a perception that they can't, then men hide into a corner because they feel that they cannot show vulnerability, or they cannot show that they are low or upset because of the judgment and the perception of them by other people within society. And in my personal view, there is a cultural pressure, if you like to call it, of men not being able to express their emotions because as they're brought up in childhood, they need to look after their family. Or in another route, that they were taught not to express their emotions. Or when they try to express their emotions were become emotionally unavailable because their parents or family members didn't listen to them as a child. So as you grow up as an individual, and you grow up in a way where you don't know how to regulate or manage your emotions, as an adult today, how difficult must that be for a man? And naturally, when men can't regularly express their emotions, or as in childhood they weren't taught to express their emotions, they'll naturally cope with it on their own. And they will feel that it is much easier for them to cope with it on their own because they don't want to feel like they are a burden on their family or their friends. Or if they are looking after a family member, or maybe their children, they don't want to be seen as weak because they are the breadwinners of the family and they need to hold the family together. Now, men, when you hear that, how does that make you feel? Is that healthy? Is it unhealthy? How do you feel when you are feeling low and depressed at any point of your life and you struggle to share those emotions with someone because you don't know how to, or you weren't taught, and it's leading on to negative emotions of regularly crying, regularly feeling upset, feeling low, down, angry, frustrated, because you're not taught to regulate those emotions. Whatever you're feeling is what you are going to connect with. So you can't help yourself when you're feeling that way. And you are not taught to express and try and work out why you're feeling this way. Why are you feeling low? And in a default scenario, men would say, it's just a phase I'm going through. I'm all right. It's just something off. I'm feeling low, but I'll be fine by tomorrow. Don't worry. I'm a strong man. I'm a macho man. Now that perception of a man is long in the past. It doesn't exist anymore. And I'd like to share why therapy is one of the more important decisions you'll make in your life when you are feeling low or you struggle to express your emotions. Even when you want to share it with someone, you don't know how to. Maybe, as I mentioned before, you'll feel judged. You feel like you're perceived as weak. But did you know when you express your emotions, you're not showcasing weakness, you're showcasing strength. Now you may be thinking about this and thinking, well, where do I start when I want to go to therapy? The first thing that you need to do is accept that you need help. Therapy is a confidential form of communication with someone that you trust for you to express how you're feeling and share what is wrong, and for you to connect with yourself and say to yourself, I'm not putting myself second. I'm putting myself first. I'm putting myself in front of everybody so that I can feel better within myself, but I can then also be better for my friends and family around me. Acceptance and acknowledgement are two of the most important terms that I want to present to you today. And as I've just mentioned, acceptance that you're not feeling so good, but acknowledging that you need some support. When going into therapy, you are only expressing how you feel in a confidential manner to someone that you can trust. That simply means talking about your problems, talking about what's troubling you, and identifying mechanisms to help you cope. The mind is not designed for you to carry stress emotions every single day just because of the perception that you carry that you are meant to be macho or the breadwinner, and that you are scared or you may be fearful that you cannot express your emotions and you cannot express how you truly feel because you think you'll be weak. Now let's bust that myth right now. And when you start talking to someone confidentially, all you're doing is expressing conversation about how you feel. Let's give an example. Don't you talk to your friends and family? You're one of your best friends, like your mates around a pub, and you talk about what's troubling you, what's bothering you. That is what therapy is designed to do. Now the difference is that you are talking to someone professional who can make you understand those root cause of those issues and be able to provide those mechanisms to help you feel a lot better within yourself. You're not meant to be at war with your mind. The mind is not designed to regurgitate regular stress emotions when you are feeling low and depressed. And let me ask you as a man, if you are looking after a child or you are looking after a family, then you are not going to be able to give 100% if you are feeling low and depressed. And those regurgitating emotions continue to spiral out of control. You are eventually going to break if there is something troubling you. And going into therapy allows you to understand the construct of your mind, why you're feeling certain ways, how do you behave in certain ways, what are the causes of your behaviors, why are you feeling, as I said, low and depressed. And all you're doing is confidentially expressing why you're feeling a certain way to a person that you feel that you can trust, a professional that can help you understand yourself better. And eventually you will become a better person for yourself, but also a better person for those around you. Therapy is healthy. Why? Because you are putting your self-respect first. You are putting yourself first, and you are saying to yourself, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I want to feel better. I want to feel happy. But what's most important is that when you connect with your mind, you then begin to understand who you truly are and who you truly want to be. So if you have a perception that you want to be happier for your children and you want to be a certain way, but you feel that you're failing, going to therapy will help you do that. It will help you remove that mask that you are carrying every single day of your life, and then to bring out a brand new person, a person that you want to be, and a person that you want to share with everyone else around you. Relationships will improve. For example, you've got a wife or a girlfriend, and there isn't that emotional connection there, or you are keeping a distance, a barrier between you two, because there is something inside of your mind that is causing this distance to occur, but you don't know what it is, and you don't know how to deal with it, and you don't know how to resolve it. Naturally, you're going to feel the impact of those around you, but also your wife or girlfriend will as well. It could be your mother. They don't want to see you a certain way, and you don't want them to see you a certain way, but you don't know what to do about it. Going into therapy will help you bring those issues out in the open. Why am I feeling like this? I no longer want to express this towards my wife or my girlfriend. I want to deal with this problem. And as you're talking confidentially to someone who you can trust, and even most likely to a professional, you're bringing that out in the open. And then it is very likely that whatever was causing you to feel that way, not saying will no longer exist, but you'd be able to adapt those coping mechanisms that will help you to address any of those negative problems that come into your mind, so that you can mitigate its impact. So by that I mean is that if there is something that's happened in your life, a traumatic experience of some kind, for example, that may be impacting your relationships, if you bring those out into therapy, then you're most likely to be able to understand it. And most likely you are then able, as I mentioned, to add those coping mechanisms, so then it becomes more easier to manage. And the most important thing about it is when you're aware of it, you will also be aware of the reactions and the impacts that it has on your wife or on your girlfriend or your mother. And then you're able to ensure that negative energy no longer gets portrayed to them. Therapy will make you realize that the perception that you had of yourself was false. So what do I mean by that? When we're struggling as men, we tend to label ourselves as weak. We tend to label ourselves as we're not good enough. I'm a burden to my family. I'm a burden to my friends. But the reason why we're doing that is because our mind is controlling us. Our mind is controlling how we feel about ourselves, because we can't connect to it, and we don't connect to it. And when you begin to understand how your mind processes, what your mind's construct is, and how you then begin to peel off the layers of your mind and connect so you understand how your mind operates, you'll then begin to understand why things are the way they are, why you feel the way you feel. You will then begin to realize that none of it is your fault. But most importantly, you'll begin to give yourself the respect that you have wanted to give yourself this whole time. Your perception of yourself will change. You'll then begin to give yourself positive affirmations, and you'll begin to change your thoughts about yourself and how you feel about yourself. Seeing yourself in a positive light, and the moment you are in a mental position full of positive thoughts, positive energies, those energies will then portray onto those people around you, and the energies that you portray in the environment are going to be positive. So that's what I wanted to share on why I feel men should go to therapy and why it is important for your overall well-being.